The rain was biblical that night, a relentless curtain of gray washing over the winding bat. Each crack of thunder felt like the sky was splitting open, and my car, bless its rusty heart, finally gave up the ghost. I saw a flickering neon sign cut through the gloom. The Sleepy Hollow Motel. Vacancy. It looked like something straight out of a forgotten horror film, but it was either that or spend the night with the coyotes. I pushed open the creaky door to the reception. The air was thick with the smell of dust and damp wood. An old man with eyes that seemed to see right through me slid a tarnished brass key across the counter. Room 313. "Just try to ignore the drafts," he rasped, a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "The old girl has some stories to tell." Great. Just what I needed. Room 313 was vintage schlock. The wallpaper was peeling in long, sad strips, and a single, dim bulb cast long, dancing shadows that played tricks on the eyes. The bed, however, looked surprisingly clean. Exhaustion hit me like a physical blow. I didn't even bother to change. I just locked the door, kicked off my wet shoes, and collapsed onto the mattress, letting the rhythmic drumming of the rain lull me into a restless sleep. I dreamt of running, of being chased through endless, identical corridors. A cold dread seeped into my bones, a feeling of being watched, of not being alone. Then, the dream shifted. I was standing outside a motel room, peering through the window. Inside, I could see a man sleeping, his face pale in the moonlight. My face, a jolt, sharp and electric, snapped me awake. The room was pitch black, the storm outside having finally quieted to a whisper. But the cold wasn't just in the air anymore. It was on me. Something icy and delicate was slowly, deliberately, crawling up my arm. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the oppressive silence. I held my breath, every nerve screaming. I was too terrified to move, too terrified to even breathe. Slowly, fighting against a paralysis of pure fear, I forced my eyes open. And that's when I saw him, lying beside me. His head on the pillow next to mine was me. An exact replica, from the tangled mess of my hair to the worn-out t-shirt I was wearing. He was just lying there, watching me, a faint, knowing smile playing on his lips. My breath hitched in my throat. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. It was like my lungs had turned to stone. The isotermedis impossible reflection leaned in closer. His breath was cold, smelling of damp earth, and something ancient, something wrong. He whispered, his voice a perfect imitation of my own, but devoid of any warmth, any life. "It's okay," he murmured, the sound slithering directly into my ear. "You've been so tired, Daniel. So tired of running. You can rest now." As he spoke, an overwhelming wave of weariness washed over me, heavier and more profound than any exhaustion I'd ever known. My eyelids felt like lead. The fear was still there, a cold stone in my gut, but it was being drowned, submerged under this incredible, supernatural fatigue. My body felt distant, like it no longer belonged to me. The edges of my vision began to fade to black. The last thing I saw was his smile widening as my eyes fluttered shut. The world dissolved. There was no pain, no struggle, just a gentle final release. It was like sinking into a deep, dark, peaceful body of water. All the worries, the stress of my job, the broken down car, the relentless storm it, all just drifted away. I was floating in a silent, starless void. For the first time in what felt like a lifetime, I was truly at rest. There was no sense of time, just a serene, unending emptiness. Then, a flicker. A sensation. Not mine. I could feel the crisp morning air on my skin. I could feel the solid ground under my feet. I could feel the slight ache in my back from a night spent on a lumpy mattress. But it wasn't my back, not my skin, not my feet. I was an observer, a passenger in a body that was once my own. I watched through someone else's eyes as he stretched, yawned, and walked over to the small, grimy desk. He picked up a pen. I felt the smooth plastic in his fingers. He scribbled a few words on the motel's notepad, his handwriting a perfect match for my own. He then folded the note neatly, placed it on the pillow where my head had been, and grabbed the car keys from the nightstand. My keys? He walked to the door, unlocked it, and stepped out into the bright, post-storm morning without a single backward glance. The next morning, the motel manager used his master key to open room 313. He'd seen the guest desk car was gone, but wanted to check the room. It was empty. The bed was made almost unnaturally neat. The only thing out of place was a small, folded piece of paper sitting in the center of the pillow. He picked it up and unfolded it. To note read, "Thanks for letting me take over." The manager simply sighed, folded the note, and slipped it into his pocket. Joining a small, thick stack of identical notes he kept locked in his office drawer. The old girl, after all, always had stories to tell, and she was always looking for new ones. What do you think happened to the real Daniel? Is he lost forever? Or just waiting in the void for the next tired traveler to check into room 313? Let me know your theories down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Thanks for watching, and whatever you do, sleep tight.